Good day, students. Today we will going to continue our lesson about web development. And for today, we will going to learn more about CSS fonts. And for today's lesson, we will going to learn the font family. Number two, the font weight, using font weight. Number three, the font style. Number four, font size. Number five, the text shadow. And the last, we will going to do a classification for the class. Okay, so we will going to use the same file just like what we did in our previous lesson. Okay, so let's start. So before anything else, let us first discuss what are the following generic font families that is available in our CSS. So in CSS, there are five generic font families. Number one is serif fonts. Okay, so they have small stroke at the edges of each letter, and they create a sense of formality and elegance. Number two, we have the sans serif fonts, wherein they have clean lines and no small strokes attached. They create a modern and minimalistic look. Number three, we have the monospace fonts, wherein here all of the letters have the same fixed width. They create a mechanical look. We have also the cursive fonts. They imitate human handwriting. And lastly, we have the fantasy fonts. Fantasy fonts are decorative and playful fonts. So these are the differences between the sans serif and the serif fonts. As what we can see, sans serif does not have any designs, and it is just a plain letter F. Wherein when we have here the serif font, it is more like it has an extra stroke. It's more like a formal text font. Okay, so here are some of the examples of the font family. So for the serif, we have Times New Roman, the Georgia, the Garamond. For the sans serif, we have Arial, Verdana, Helvetica. For the monospace, we have Courier New, Lucia Console, Monaco. For the cursive, we have the brush script MT to see the handwriting. And for the fantasy, we have the copper plate and papyrus. Okay, so this time let us apply or let us use this font in our website. So as what you can see in our website here, these fonts are just the default fonts available in our website. When we say default, these are the fonts that we can see when we are creating a website. Now let us try to change the font that we have here for our H1. Our H1 is Saving Mother Earth. Now let us try. We have here font, family, semicolon, and I like to try the cursive font, which is the Lucida handwriting. So let us try to write here, Lucida handwriting. Okay, so let us save our work, go back to our file, and let us do a refresh. Okay, so I guess I have here wrong spelling. Lucida handwriting. Let us be careful when we are writing in our code. It's because sometimes our code will not work. It's because of a simple wrong spelling or mischaracters that we put in our tag. So let us be careful with that. So as what you can see here, I have a wrong spelling. So as what you can see, it doesn't appear in our website. So let us do a refresh now. Okay, so there it is. So this font is what we call the to see the handwriting. Now, this time, let us try to make this font a little bit bigger. Okay, now to make this font a little bit bigger, we use the font size. Okay, the font size here, the function of this font size is to make or is to adjust the size of our text. So in this case, I want to change this one into 40 px. Okay, save our work and let us try to see how big is 40 px for our H1. Okay, so there it is. So I guess I am good with this font 40px, but if you want to make this one a little bit bigger, you can change this into 60, into 80. It depends on how much or how big your font will be. It depends upon you. So this time let's try 60px. Do a refresh. Okay, so there it is. So I guess if this one is a little bit big for an H1. So I'm just going to settle with 40px. Save and let's do a refresh. Okay, so I'm good with this one. Okay, the next thing that we were going to do is let us try to have our font weight. Okay, so when I say font weight, okay, font weight is used to make your font bolder or lighter. Okay, so this time I want to make this one a little bit bolder. Okay, so we have the font weight, font slash weight, and the value is bolder. So this is the function of our font weight. So let us save and let us try to see what will happen to our text. Okay, so uh, I think the Lucy, the handwriting is already bold, or shall we say bolder na. Okay, but if we're going to change this one into lighter, let's see what will happen. Okay, save our file and let us do a refresh. Okay, so as what you can see, there is a slight changes when it comes on how 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 big our text is. Okay, so it's much more lighter than the other one. Okay, but for now, I guess I will not going to use the font weight. I'm just going to settle with the okay the default size for Lucida handwriting. Okay, but in some cases, if you want to change how big your letter is or your text is, so you can use the font weight, bolder or lighter. Okay, now the next thing that we will going to do is let us you can also use one of the things that we can do with our font is using the font style. Okay, so for our font style, we can have the italic. Okay, so we already know what will happen to our font style if we do the italic. It means to say that the font will become, okay, it will become a little bit slant. Okay, so that is one of the functions of what we call font style. Okay, and the other one that we can also do with our text is we can apply shadow. How to apply shadow? Grade 8. All we have to do is type font shadow. And for this one, let us put the value on how much shadow shall we put with our main text. Now, in this case, we are going to use 2px, 2px, and let us try to see what will happen. Okay, again. Okay, so to change or to make a shadow to our text, I guess it's not font shadow, but it is text shadow. Okay, text shadow. For this one, we have 2px, 2px. Okay, and then I erase the font style. Let me add it again, font style, and that is italic. Okay, so let's do save our work and let us see what will happen to our text. Okay, so as what you can see, there is a shadow, but uh, as as what you have noticed that the shadow that we can see is still in color orange. Let's try to change this one into another. The shadow, let us try change the color of our shadow into another color. Let's say I want to change it with color white. Let's see what will happen. Okay, so there it is. A little bit, um, I think this one is good enough. Wherein I can see now that there is a difference with my shadow and with my text. Okay, so that's it. That is how we apply shadow to our text. Not only in H1, we can also put CSS font in our list. Okay, so let's try to change the CSS, or let us change the font into our list. Let's try to have this one, font family. Okay, so let's try to see what are the available generic font that we have in our website. How about for this one? Let us try to use the brush script MP. Okay. Try to have this one for our menus. Okay, save our work, go back to our website, and let's do a refresh. Okay, so there it is. That's what you have noticed, that the text or the font of our text changes into brush script empty. So I guess I want to make this one a little bit bigger. So to make this one bigger, the tag that we could use is font size. And the value for that one, I think I'm going to make this one as 20 px. Let's try what will happen. Okay, so there it is. Okay, a bit bigger than it was before. Let's also change the color. One or color. Color for this one. I'm going to make this one as white. Okay, save and refresh. Okay, so there it is. Okay, so we were able to apply CSS font not only to our H1 but to almost all of the text that are available in our website. Okay, so this time, as what you can see that in this website, I have already two paragraphs. Okay, so in this paragraph, it says we should take care of our environment. We should not only focus on our technology, but we need also to take stand in saving our Mother Earth. This is our paragraph number one. And the second paragraph is scientists believe that our Earth have only 20 years, and if we will not stand, we will be baked because of global warming. Okay, so this one is located in our HTML. Okay, so this is the paragraph number one and paragraph number two. Okay, now as what you can see that our paragraph have the same font. Now, this time What if we will change the font style for our paragraph number 1 and paragraph number 2? Wherein the paragraph number 1 has a different font compared to paragraph number 2. As what we can see here, that no matter what we're going to do, our paragraph will have the same font, even if we will going to change the font family. Okay, like for example, this one. We're going to change this one into font family. Okay, so paragraph number 1 and paragraph number 2 will have the same font. What if I really want to change the second paragraph into a different font? Okay, now in that case, we will going to use this what we call class. Okay, class, or we will going to classify. We will going to classify the paragraph number 1 from paragraph number 2. Now in that case, let us make this paragraph number 1 into a class 1, or paragraph number 1 class P1. And for paragraph number 2, we will going to classify it. Let's write class. This will be P2. Okay, save our work. Okay, as what you can see, nothing still happens. Okay, we just separate the two paragraphs as paragraph number 1 and paragraph number 2. Now this time, let us now change our font in our CSS. Now, since we classified them using class, we have to add a period before our P, okay, to signify that this one is under a class or classification. So this one, let us now write P1. P1 will be paperus. And for the next one, paragraph number 2, dot P2 squiggy bracket. And for this one, I want to change this font and into Verdana. Okay, so you can select any of the font that you like from our generic font families. Okay, so in this case, I'm just going to use Verdana. Okay, or maybe I could use Lucida Console instead of Verdana. Okay, save our work, and let us try to see what will happen to our paragraph if they were going to have a different font style. Okay, so there it is. So what you can see that in the first paragraph, it stays as papyrus. And for the second paragraph, the font style is Lucida Console. So we can also change, or we can also make this text for paragraph number 1 a little bit more bolder. In this case, we use the font weight and border. I bolder, I mean. Save, and let's do a refresh. Okay, so there it is. As what you can see, that the text become a little bit bolder. Okay, so that's it. So for today's lesson, we were able to apply the font family, the font weight, the font style, the font size. We also add the text shadow, and we were able to classify our paragraph from paragraph number 1 to paragraph number 2. Now, this time, grade 8, I want you to screen record your work and submit your work in our activity in day 2 in our Schoology. So thank you so much for listening and see you next time in our live class.